Ladies and gentlemen, not all dangers come with a warning. Some stand beside you, wear friendly smiles, and speak with soft words. They don't raise their voice, they don't raise suspicion. But behind that carefully crafted mask lies something far more dangerous than rage, calculated deception. Evil is not always loud. It is often subtle, patient, and incredibly persuasive. It does not force its way in. It earns your trust, then twists it against you. And by the time you realize what's happening, it's already too late. But what if you could see the signs before the mask slips? What if you could recognize the red flags before the damage is done? Today I will reveal 6 warning signs, 6 undeniable truths that will help you see the evil hidden in plain sight. Listen carefully, because the next person who shakes your hand, shares your secrets, or even sits beside you might not be who they pretend to be. A calm but unsettling presence. Evil does not always announce itself with loud voices or violent tempers. More often than not, it enters quietly, unassuming, blending seamlessly into the background. It does not demand attention, it earns trust. And the most dangerous people are often the calmest in the room. Have you ever met someone who seemed too composed? Not in a way that suggests confidence or wisdom, but in a way that feels calculated. There is a stillness about them, an unsettling quiet that does not reflect peace, but rather a hidden storm. Their words are measured, their tone controlled, and their eyes cold, observing, as if studying you rather than truly connecting with you. This is not the calmness of a kind soul. This is the patience of a predator. The illusion of charm. Many people mistake this composure for charm. After all, a person who never raises their voice, who remains polite and speaks with a certain elegance, must be trustworthy, right? But charm, in the hands of the wrong person, is nothing more than a mask worn to disarm you. They are never the ones caught in heated arguments. They rarely show emotion. When conflict arises, they don't react the way a normal person would. Instead, they watch, they analyze, they wait. And the moment you let your guard down, they strike not with force, but with subtle manipulation, turning situations to their advantage without you even realizing it. How it feels to be around them. There is an unmistakable energy shift when you're in their presence. You may not be able to explain why, but something feels off. Conversations with them feel hollow, as if every word is carefully chosen not to express truth, but to extract something from you. You might find yourself questioning your own instincts. Why do I feel uneasy around this person, even though they haven't done anything wrong? Why do I sense that they are listening not to understand me, but to study me? Why do I feel like I'm being played in a game I don't even know I'm part of? This is your intuition screaming at you. Listen to it. They are always in control. One of the clearest signs of an unsettling presence is their ability to maintain control of their emotions, of situations, and, most importantly, of you. They never react impulsively. Every response is calculated. They know how to push the right buttons without seeming aggressive. When confronted, they don't panic or stumble over their words like an innocent person might. Instead, they remain eerily composed, turning the blame back on others with effortless precision. A sudden tragedy. They do not flinch. A moment of raw emotion. They observe with fascination rather than empathy. While the rest of the world reacts like human beings, laughing, crying, getting frustrated, these individuals remain unshaken, unaffected, and detached. This ability to stay disturbingly calm is not a sign of wisdom or inner peace, it is a sign of something much darker. The red flag you cannot ignore. If someone's presence makes you feel uneasy not because of what they say or do, but because of what they don't, trust that feeling. If you find yourself hesitating to speak around them, sensing their hidden intentions, or feeling like you're being observed rather than engaged with, pay attention. Evil does not need to be loud. Sometimes it is the silent observer, the patient manipulator, the one who never loses control. And that, in itself, is terrifying. Manipulation disguised as kindness. Evil rarely comes dressed in darkness. It does not announce itself with threats or cruelty, not at first. Instead, it wears a disguise, one that is soft-spoken, kind, and seemingly full of goodwill. It makes you feel safe because that is the only way it can get close enough to strike. Beware of those whose kindness feels too perfect, whose generosity comes with invisible strings, and whose words sound comforting but leave you doubting yourself. Manipulation does not always feel like control, it often feels like care. The mask of generosity. Some people give to uplift, while others give to own. The difference is subtle but dangerous. A manipulator will go out of their way to help you, but not because they truly care. No, their kindness is an investment, one that they will collect on later. They might offer favors you never asked for, help you in ways that seem unnecessary, or constantly remind you of how much they've done for you. And when the time comes, they will cash in on that debt, not with money, but with control. You may hear phrases like, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me. I was only trying to help. You're making me feel terrible for no reason. I sacrificed so much for you. You owe me this." True kindness asks for nothing in return. Manipulative kindness comes with conditions you never agreed to. Twisting reality. When words become weapons. One of the most terrifying abilities of a manipulator is their skill in bending reality, not by force, but by carefully shaping your perception. They make you doubt yourself, question your own memory, and even feel guilty for things that weren't your fault. If they hurt you, somehow you end up apologizing. If they break your trust, they convince you that you're overreacting. They never take responsibility. Instead, they reframe the story in a way that makes you wonder if maybe, just maybe, you were the problem all along. This is not an accident. This is a calculated method of control. And if you let them, they will rewrite your entire reality until you see yourself through their lens, small, uncertain, and powerless. The subtle art of isolation. A manipulator does not want you to think for yourself. They do not want you to have outside influences that might expose their games. So slowly, carefully, they cut you off. At first, it seems innocent. "I don't trust that friend of yours. I think they're jealous of you. Your family doesn't really understand you like I do. Why do you listen to other people? Don't you trust me?" One by one, the people in your life seem to disappear, not because they left, but because you were guided away from them. And by the time you realize it, you are alone with no one but the manipulator's voice in your ear, telling you what to believe. How to recognize the trap. Not all kindness is genuine. The difference between true care and manipulation is simple. Real kindness makes you feel free. Manipulative kindness makes you feel trapped. Do they guilt trip you after doing something nice? Do they make you feel like you owe them for their generosity? Do they rewrite situations to always make themselves the victim? Do they isolate you from people who care about you? If the answer is yes, then their kindness is not real, it is a tool, a weapon, a chain disguised as a gift. The most dangerous people are not those who show their true colors from the beginning. The truly dangerous ones wear kindness like a mask, wrapping their manipulation in warmth and comfort. And before you realize what's happening, you are no longer a person in their life, you are a puppet in their hands. Lack of empathy. The chilling absence of humanity. There are moments in life that test our hearts, times of sorrow, of joy, of struggle. A normal person feels these things. They react, they comfort, they celebrate, they grieve. But there are some who do not. There are those who watch suffering without flinching. Those who see pain and feel nothing. And sometimes, if you look closely, those who enjoy it. A lack of empathy is one of the clearest and most terrifying signs of an evil person. It is not just coldness, it is an absence, a hollow space where compassion should be. Indifference to suffering. A person without empathy does not react to pain the way a normal human would. When tragedy strikes, they do not comfort, they observe. When someone is hurting, they do not feel sorrow, they feel curiosity, perhaps even amusement. You might notice it in small moments. A joke at someone else's expense that goes too far, yet they smile as if it's nothing. A story of tragedy that should stir some reaction, but their eyes remain empty. A friend in pain, desperate for comfort, but they change the subject as if emotions are an inconvenience. Their reactions feel unnatural, almost rehearsed. They know how they should respond, but something is missing. It is not real. Cruelty is entertainment. For some, the suffering of others is not just something they ignore, it is something they enjoy. This does not always mean outright harm. Sometimes it is subtle. They laugh at things that should not be funny. They take pleasure in seeing others embarrassed, humiliated, or struggling. They do not physically hurt people, but they use words like weapons, cutting deeper than any blade could. And the worst part, if you call them out, they will dismiss it. I was just joking. You're too sensitive. Can't you take a little fun? But real fun is not at the expense of others, and real humor does not leave wounds. The ability to harm without guilt. A person without empathy does not feel guilt the way you do. When they hurt someone, they do not lose sleep over it. If they betray you, they will not dwell on it. To them, feelings are weaknesses, and guilt is a burden they do not carry. Instead, they shift blame, justify their actions, or simply move on as if nothing ever happened. And when you confront them, you will see it. A blank stare, a slight smirk, a complete lack of remorse. To them, your pain is irrelevant because they cannot feel it. They see people as tools, not as humans. Without empathy, people are not friends, family, or loved ones. They are means to an end. They are resources to be used, manipulated, and discarded when no longer useful. You might notice they form relationships only when there is something to gain. They are friendly to powerful people but cold to those who can do nothing for them. They show interest in someone's struggles only when they can use it later. They betray others without hesitation and expect no consequences. And when their mask slips, you realize the horrifying truth. You were never a person to them. You were only ever a tool. The warning signs. If someone's actions make you question whether they have a heart at all, do not ignore it. A person who lacks empathy will show no real reaction to suffering, laugh at or enjoy others' pain, hurt people without feeling guilt, use others for their own benefit. If you see these signs, walk away. There are many flaws a person can have, but a lack of empathy is not just a flaw, it is a missing piece of humanity. And if someone feels nothing, they are capable of anything. A web of lies. When deception becomes a way of life, lies are not always loud. Sometimes they are whispered in the dark. Sometimes they are told not with words, but with silence. And sometimes they are woven so carefully into a person's life that you don't even realize you've stepped into their web of deception until it's too late. A truly dangerous person does not lie for necessity. They lie because it is their nature. They lie effortlessly, without hesitation, without remorse. To them, the truth is not a principle, it is a tool to be reshaped, distorted, or ignored whenever it suits them. But if you pay attention, if you look past their words and into their actions, you will see the cracks in their perfect stories. Because no matter how well they weave their web, the truth always finds a way to escape. Lies are their native language. Everyone has told a lie at some point. A small excuse, a moment of fear. But for these people, lying is not a rare occurrence, it is a way of life. They do not just lie when necessary, they lie when unnecessary, even when the truth would serve them just as well. You may notice small inconsistencies, stories that change slightly every time they tell them, excuses that don't quite add up, a strange avoidance of details as if they are making it up as they go. At first, it may seem harmless, but over time you realize nothing they say can be trusted. They lie with confidence, never flinching. Most people, when caught in a lie, show some sign of discomfort, a stammer, a nervous glance, a slight hesitation. But not these individuals. They lie smoothly, effortlessly, as if they believe their own deception. Even when confronted with undeniable proof, they do not break. Instead, they deny. Change the story slightly to fit the evidence. Turn the blame on you for doubting them. They do not panic when caught. They do not apologize. They simply rearrange the lie until it fits again. They make you question reality. One of the most sinister aspects of a skilled liar is their ability to make you doubt your own memory, your own perception, your own sanity. You might find yourself thinking, maybe I did misunderstand what they said. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe the problem is me, not them. This is not an accident. This is a technique called gaslighting, a form of manipulation designed to make you question reality so that you become easier to control. If you feel confused after every conversation with them, if the truth always feels just out of reach, if you find yourself apologizing for things you are sure you didn't do, you are trapped in their web. They play the victim to escape consequences. When a liar is exposed, they do not admit fault. Instead, they play the victim. You don't trust me. After everything I've done for you? I can't believe you would accuse me of lying. That really hurts me. Everyone always doubts me. I guess I'm just not good enough. Suddenly, you are the villain for questioning them. You feel guilty, and just like that, the conversation shifts from their lies to your lack of trust. They are never the same person twice. A person who builds their life on lies cannot afford to have a fixed identity. Instead, they become whoever they need to be in the moment. To some, they are kind and caring. To others, they are ruthless and cold. They tell one story here, another story there. They adjust their personality to fit the situation. And if you compare notes with others, you may be shocked to find the person you thought you knew does not actually exist. How to recognize the web? If you suspect someone is a master manipulator of truth, ask yourself, do their stories change slightly over time? Do they lie effortlessly, without hesitation or guilt? Do they make you question your own memory? Do they play the victim when caught? Do they act differently around different people? If the answer is yes, you are in their web. The most dangerous kind of liar is not the one who tells a lie. It is the one who lives in lies, who builds their world from deception and invites you inside. And once you step into their web, the longer you stay, the harder it is to escape. The need for control, when power becomes an obsession. Some people seek power in obvious ways through wealth, status, or physical dominance. But the truly dangerous ones, they seek power in ways you cannot see. They do not need to raise their voice or use force. Instead, they control through manipulation, fear, and psychological warfare. The need for control is not just about authority, it is about ownership. These people do not see relationships as partnerships, they see them as hierarchies where they must always be on top. And to maintain that position, they will do whatever it takes: lie, deceive, isolate, and even destroy. But if you know what to look for, if you recognize the patterns, you can break free before it's too late. They always have to be in charge. In their world, everything revolves around them. They control the decisions, the conversations, the emotions of those around them. Even in small things, they must have the final say. If you suggest an idea, they will dismiss it or reshape it to seem like it was theirs. If you make a choice, they will find a way to make you doubt it. Their need for dominance is so deep that even the smallest challenge to their authority feels like a threat. You might notice they constantly correct or criticize others as if only their way is right. They expect obedience even in matters that do not concern them. They feel offended when they are not consulted or obeyed. This is not leadership. This is control. They use fear to keep you small. A controlling person does not want you to think for yourself. They do not want you to feel strong, independent, or free. Why? Because a confident person cannot be controlled. So they use fear to keep you small. They make you doubt yourself. Are you sure you can handle that? You're not as smart as you think. They plant insecurities. Other people might not see you the way I do. Maybe you should be careful. They threaten loss. If you keep acting this way, I don't know if I can stay. Slowly, without even realizing it, you begin to shrink. You second-guess your choices. You hesitate to speak your mind. You become exactly what they want, someone too afraid to fight back. They isolate you from others. Control is strongest when there are no outside voices. That's why these people work hard to cut you off from anyone who could break their hold over you. At first, it's subtle. I don't like your friend. I don't think they're good for you. Your family doesn't really understand you like I do. Why do you need other people when you have me? One by one, your connections start to fade, not because you want them to, but because they have made it seem necessary. And once you are alone, they have complete control. They never let you win. A controlling person does not celebrate your success. If you achieve something, they downplay it. It's not a big deal. Anyone could do that. Take credit. You only did that because I helped you. Make it about them. You think you're better than me now? In their mind, your success is a threat to their dominance. So they will find ways to make you feel small, even in your biggest victories. They punish disobedience. You may not even realize it at first, but every time you go against them, something happens. They withdraw affection, suddenly growing cold and distant. They make passive-aggressive comments, turning their anger into subtle insults. They find ways to make you feel guilty, twisting the situation so that you are the one apologizing. This is not love. This is punishment. It is a way of making sure that next time you will think twice before challenging their control. How to recognize the chains. If someone in your life makes you feel trapped, like you cannot make decisions without them, afraid to speak your mind because of how they will react, guilty for wanting space, success, or independence, isolated from friends, family, and support, then you are not in a relationship, you are in a prison. A person who craves control will never stop. They will tighten their grip until there is nothing left of you but a shadow of who you used to be, unless you break free before it's too late.